Hidden Horrors, 13. Mythical creatures that might have existed. What if I told you legends darker than your worst nightmares still walk among whispers in remote villages? Creatures so terrifying, so bizarre, most people haven't even heard their names. Tonight, we unlock secrets of mythical beasts that stalk the edges of belief. Shapeshifters, demons, water spirits, horrors that prey on fear itself. Brace yourself. These are hidden horrors. 13. Mythical creatures you never knew existed. Real folklore, real terror, real mystery. Chapter 1. Creatures of the Nightmares, Aswang and Penanggalan. Imagine a creature that by daylight looks like your neighbor, but when night falls, transforms into something monstrous, hunting the unborn, feasting on flesh, hiding in shadows. Our first horror, the Aswang of the Philippines. The Aswang is an umbrella term for many ghastly shapeshifters. Some fly, some crawl, some look like dogs or pigs. At night, they roam hunting humans. They mimic voices of loved ones, lure villagers to lonely roads, and with a long tongue or proboscis, feed on the unborn or drink blood. Communities live in dread of its arrival. Parents warn children not to wander after dark. Now meet its brutal cousin, the Penanggalan of Malaysia. By morning, she's a beautiful woman, but at night, her head detaches from her body, trailing entrails like some living nightmare, flying through villages in search of blood. Imagine opening your window at midnight and seeing that floating horror, dripping with entrails, seeking your blood. The very thought jolts your heart. People hang chili peppers, garlic, eggs to keep her away. Because in folklore, this monster has a sweet female form by day, for deception. What makes these creatures terrifying is not just their look, it's the betrayal of trust. The monster wearing a loved one's face, the familiar neighbor who becomes predator. They prey on what we believe safe, on innocence, sleep, vulnerability. They force communities to live in fear of darkness, of trust, of the unknown. If you're already feeling the chill, hit like now. Share this with someone who loves dark folklore. And if you want deep dives into more monsters you've never heard of, subscribe and comment below. Which creature scared you the most so far? Chapter 2. Shadows from the Water. Berberoka, Ninki Nanka, Kelpie. Picture returning home after dark across damp marshes. You feel the water shift, sense something huge beneath the surface. Our next beasts thrive in places we avoid. Swamps, rivers, lakes. They hide, they lure, and they kill in silence. Berberoka, Philippines. First, the Berberoka, a swamp creature from Luzon's water-rich lands. It drains entire ponds until fish lie flopping in mud. Then when people rush to gather the fish, it releases the water in a crushing flood, drowning its victims before feasting. It can also change size, blend into the scenery, rocks, foliage, even riverbanks, waiting for the foolish to trust the quiet. And in a twist of horror, the Berberoka fears crabs. Yes, a beast so mighty, yet terrified of tiny crustaceans. Ninki Nanka, West Africa. Next, the Ninki Nanka, a dragon-like swamp monster of Gambian legend, described as reptilian, fire-breathing, or with reflective scales that glint in moonlight. Some say its stare causes death. Others claim it looks like a crocodile mixed with giraffe or a horse or snake. It depends on who's telling. Villagers whisper, "Don't wander near the creeks, take mirrors," because seeing its reflection might be what saves you. Kelpie, Scotland. Then there's the Kelpie, a water spirit that appears as a beautiful horse by the lake. But once you mount it or get close, its skin turns cold, its eyes wild, and it drags victims beneath the water to drown them. Legend warns children never to stray near lochs alone. The fairy tale becomes nightmare. These creatures share something chilling. They are silent predators in familiar places. Rivers, lakes, ponds, places many of us trust. They show that danger often lurks beneath the water's stillness. We think we're safe, but myth tells us that's exactly when we're most vulnerable. Chapter 3. grotesque guardians and body horror, Yaramayahu Adze the Mangwa. Close your eyes and imagine resting beneath a fig tree, dappled sunlight, birds singing. Then something drops, something small, something terrifying. Yaramayahu, Aboriginal Australia. Tiny but monstrous, the Yaramayahu waits in fig trees for travelers to rest beneath. With skin red as rust, huge head, no sharp teeth, but suckers on fingers and toes. It drops down, clamps onto its victim, drains blood with its suction limbs, then swallows them whole. After a nap, it vomits the person back up, alive, but changed, shorter, redder, weakened. Some stories say if you're swallowed repeatedly, you become one yourself, a horror that turns prey into predator. Ads, folklore, West Africa. In West Africa, there's a demon disguised as a firefly. That's the Ads. By night, it slips through cracks and keyholes, invisible, feeding on sleepers. It sucks their blood, causes sickness, maybe even death. Caught, it takes human shape, becomes a possessed person, witch. Imagine seeing a small, glowing bug, then waking to find you're slowly becoming something evil. Mortality and superstition collide. The Mangwa, Tanzania. Now shift to East Africa. The Mangwa, sometimes called the Nunda. People describe a feline beast larger than a lion, size of a donkey, with gray, brindled fur. It moves silently. It's stronger, stranger, leaving tracks unlike any known big cat. Some think it's just giant leopard or mutated lion. But others speak of attacks, of livestock lost, of fear when it prowls at twilight. A cryptid that haunts the grasslands and shadows. These monsters share something deeply unsettling. They don't roar. They don't need fangs or horns to terrify. Their horror comes from what they do to the body, what they steal, what they leave behind. They transform fear into flesh. If this is already giving you chills, hit like and subscribe so you don't miss the terrors yet to come. Comment which creature you wish you'd never heard of. Chapter 4. Wings, Tails, Teeth, Soglav, Amarok, Akrabuamalu. Have you ever wondered what lies beyond man's reach? In frozen norths, dark skies, or ancient deserts, something with claws, something with wings, something with venomous tail and eyes that glow in the moonlight. These are beasts that scare because they seem almost possible. Soglav, Bosnia and Herzegovina. Legends say the Soglav has the head of a dog, a body of a man, and eyes inside its chest. Yes, eyes in its chest. It lives in caves and forests, hunts humans at dusk. Some say its smell is like rotting meat, its breath deadly. Mothers tell children, if you hear growls under the floorboards, don't be tempted, because once it smells your fear, it will come for you. Tales from old European villages warned travelers to keep fires burning all night. Slavic folklore. Amarok, Inuit mythology. In the Arctic wind, the Amarok prowls, a gigantic wolf, bigger than any bear, silent, solitary. It hunts alone, stalking people who are foolish enough to walk in moonless nights. Inuit elders say, be seen, make light, and do not call its name. Because when the Amarok wants the silence, it can swallow screams. It doesn't just kill, it terrifies. The cold becomes deeper, every breath you take frozen, every shadow may be its breath behind you. Akrabuamelu, Scorpion Men, Mesopotamia. Now prepare for one of the most grotesque hybrids. Akrabuamalu, also known as Scorpion Men or Girtablilu. Creatures born from Mesopotamian myth, part human, part scorpion. Upper torso of man, lower body of scorpion, tail curved, pincers snapping, venomous stinger poised. In the Epic of Gilgamesh, they guard the gates of the sun god Shamash in the towering mountains of Mashu. Their eyes instill terror, their glance is death, and their loyalty is fierce. Some stories say their tails are powerful enough to kill with a single sting. Others say their mere presence warps light and shadows around them. They serve gods, monsters, ancient secrets. Dare you look upon them in your mind's eye? These creatures remind us, fear is not always obvious. It can be cold like the Arctic wind, grotesque like a chest full of eyes, or venomous like a scorpion tail. And they persist in stories because they express our deepest, darkest fears. Being alone, being weak, being hunted. If your heart's racing already, smash like and subscribe, because the next chapter uncovers even more terrifying beasts and what these myths mean for us. Drop in the comments. Which one from this chapter would you least want to meet at night? Chapter 5. Beyond Fear. What these monsters mean. Why they linger. All those creatures, from shapeshifters to devourers, from beastly guardians to these goat suckers born of dry fields, they survive because they speak to something deep inside humanity. Fear, mystery, guilt, and hope. Let's start with Ammit, the ancient Egyptian creature you might not expect. Ammit is part lion, part hippopotamus, part crocodile, the three most dangerous animals to ancient Egyptians. She stands by the scales in the Hall of Judgment. If a soul's heart is heavier than the feather of truth, Ma'at, Ammit devours it. That's a permanent obliteration of the soul, the second death. It's not just horror for horror's sake, but a moral warning. Live honestly, live justly, or suffer forever. Then there's the chupacabra, a much newer creature, but no less terrifying. First reports came in Puerto Rico in the 1990s, blamed for killing livestock and draining the blood of goats. Some say it is reptilian, others say hairless canine. Descriptions vary wildly. Scientists suggest many sightings may be sick animals, like coyotes with mange, or misidentified wildlife. Still, the myth persists. Why? Because it taps into fear of the unknown, of predators at the edge of civilization. All these monsters share patterns. They appear in darkness, night, forests, water, dreams. They blur lines between human and monster, normal and supernatural. They enforce rules. Don't wander at night. Be honest. Respect nature. Legends like these warn communities. Be careful, be kind. Know what lurks unseen. If your skin's still tingling, hit like and subscribe. You won't want to miss our next deep dive into forbidden folklores. Comment below, which monster would you least want to meet and why? Thank you so much for watching till the end, for subscribing, liking and commenting to our video. Remember, real monsters may not be just legends. Sometimes they live in what we choose not to see.